Hello everyone, welcome to Crossdressing Chronicles. This channel will be focused on the art of crossdressing. All stories are made 100% by me. Many of these stories are based on true events that have happened to me in my adventures as a crossdresser. Enjoy! Before I begin, I would like to say Happy Halloween to everyone out there. Halloween is a great time to go out and crossdress. Leave a comment below telling me what you are going to dress up as for Halloween. Now, let's get into the story. I had always been into women's clothes. I loved the way that they looked on my body. I had a naturally feminine physique that was often pointed out by many of my friends. My friends who were girls would joke about dressing me up. I never really said anything. Over the years, I had built up a little stash of women's clothes. Most of them had been items that I ordered on Amazon. I kept everything in a small black duffel bag. I had tried not to buy big items so that everything could fit in the duffel. This Halloween, I decided to change that. I spent many hours scrolling through the internet looking at different costumes. There were so many women's costumes. After looking over hundreds of costumes, I finally found one. I was going to go as Little Red Riding Hood. I loved the frills of the dress and all the accessories. I also thought that I could make a very convincing woman in this costume. Halloween was only a few days away, so I had to have it ordered fast. Beyond the costume, I would need to get makeup and a wig. This is where I needed the help of my friends. At this point, I hadn't told any of my friends about my cross-dressing. I decided to call my friend Katie and ask her if she could help me dress up. I felt that she would be the most open to helping me and would keep it a secret. I dialed her number. I said, "Hey, how are you?" Katie said, "What's up? You got any plans for Halloween?" I laughed a little and said, "Yeah, I do, actually, and I was wondering if you could help me with something." Katie said, "Yeah, of course." I said, well, as a joke, I thought I would dress up as Little Red Riding Hood. I don't like wearing women's clothes or anything, but I just thought it would be funny." Katie laughed and said, "Haha, you would make a cute Little Red Riding Hood. No shame in it. Women's clothes are super fun." I said, "Yeah, haha, I already ordered the costume online, but I need some help with makeup and a wig." I could tell Katie got excited when I said that. She said, "OMG, I would love to help dress you up. I know a great beauty place in a mall where we can get the perfect items." I said, "Awesome." We chanted a little more before ending the call. We planned to meet on Halloween and get my wig done at the mall. Then we would go to her place and do my makeup. I was really excited about this. The next few days went by pretty quickly. I kept track of the package, and it was expected to arrive the morning of Halloween. Before I knew it, it was the day of Halloween. I woke up really early with lots of energy. The package came in on time, and I opened it immediately. I decided to wait to put everything on until I had my makeup and hair done. A few hours passed before I met Katie at the mall. I brought the costume with me but kept it in my car. We met inside and gave each other a hug. I hadn't seen her for a few months and forgot how good she looked. She was wearing jeans and a tight shirt. She was almost my height and had long blonde hair. We walked together to the salon. Apparently, she was a regular there, as everyone seemed to know her. She whispered something to one of the workers and motioned for me to go sit down. Katie came up to me and asked how long I wanted the hair to be. I asked for it to come all the way down to my chest. The lady brought out a wig and asked me if it was good. I nodded. The lady first put a very tight hairnet around my normal hair. She then attached the wig on top. She used some glue when she put on the wig so that it would stay. I had to wait in the salon for 10 minutes while the glue dried. Luckily, it was just the workers in the salon, so no one saw me. I turned away from the front just in case one of my friends passed by and recognized me. After it dried, Katie and I left. We walked together to my car. On the walk, a few people stared at me, and one guy even made a nasty face. Holding Katie's hand as we walked made me feel better. We both got into my car and drove back to Katie's place. Katie lived right next to the mall, so it was a very short drive. I grabbed the costume from my car and headed up. It was already evening at this point, and it was going to start getting dark in a few hours. Once we entered Katie's apartment, she had me come into her bathroom and sit down on a chair. She spun the chair so that it faced towards the mirror. She had already laid out a bunch of different beauty products and asked me how much makeup I wanted to put on. I told her I wanted a good amount so that no one would recognize me. She began working. She put on a few layers of face makeup and then applied some eye makeup. After 10 minutes, she finished and moved out of the way so that I could see myself. My jaw dropped. I looked like a woman. I moved my head around and winked at myself. The makeup really brought out my eyes and made my whole face look a lot more feminine. I told Katie that I really liked it. She cheered and told me that I looked very pretty. The next part was putting on the costume. Katie helped me open the box and put all the different pieces on the bed. There was a lot to put on. I took the main dress to the bathroom and put it on first. It felt amazing. The dress was made of polyester and had a tight fit on my body. The skirt part of the dress was the perfect length and bounced up and down as I walked. I went out of the bathroom and showed Katie. She was waiting on the couch and clapped as I walked out. She stood up and said, "Wow, you look amazing. Once we put on the accessories, you are going to be the best Little Red Riding Hood in town." I was nervous dressing up in front of someone and was a little shy about it. I think she could tell and came over to give me a hug. I told her that I was really nervous. She said, "It's okay. No one is going to recognize you. And even if they did, you can always just deny it. Your secret will forever be safe with me." I felt better. The first thing that I put on was the white leggings. They were knee-high and slid on easily. They had little bows on the top that I made sure were facing forward. I put on the cape next. I had to tie it around my shoulders so that it wouldn't have a loose fit. The cape happened to be exactly the right size. It fell down to my feet but didn't touch the ground. The next accessories were the black gloves. These gloves pulled all the way up to my elbows. They made my hands feel sleek and sexy. The final accessory was a pair of black heels. I had bought the biggest size of heels available, but they were still a little tight. Katie helped me put on the heels and secured the little strap at the top of them. I got up and wobbled around in them. Katie laughed a little and instructed me on how to walk in heels. She said it was all about confidence. I found that swaying my hips from side to side as I walked helped me. By this time, it was already beginning to get dark outside. Katie said that she had bought a costume too. She disappeared into her bathroom and returned wearing a wolf costume. I laughed, and she pretended to claw at me like a wolf. We grabbed a few things and headed down to my car. Her apartment building was pretty empty at this time, and we were able to sneak by without anyone noticing us. Once we got into my car, we drove a good 30 minutes away. I wanted to do this just so that we wouldn't run into anyone that I know. The part of town that we went to was closer to the center of the city. There were lots of apartment buildings and young people walking around. I parked the car in the corner of an empty parking lot. We both got out and made our way onto the sidewalk. I asked Katie if she could hold my hand as we walked. It made me feel more confident. We walked for about 30 seconds before we started passing people. I remember that I actually looked like a girl and relaxed a bit. A group of girls passed us and said we looked really good. Katie said that they looked good. I didn't say anything. I was a little nervous to talk since it would reveal that I was a guy. We kept walking. After a few minutes, we passed in front of a club. We peered in, and it looked like it was packed. We got in line. There was a group of guys in front of us trying to get in. The bouncer yelled, "No guys allowed in right now." The group in front of us got really mad. The bouncer made them get out of line. We came up to the bouncer, and he just let us in without checking our ID. Katie smiled at me as we walked past. We screamed once we got inside. I couldn't believe that. I guess that was an advantage of being a girl. The club was packed, and we had to push through people to get to the middle. Everyone was wearing different costumes. The guys' costumes were super lame. All of the girls were either dressed as devils or Playboy bunnies or something else sexy. I could tell that it was a very selective club because there were a lot more girls than guys. Katie and I danced around for a bit before grabbing some drinks. The music was really nice, and the club had its own live DJ. After 10 minutes or so, a guy came up to Katie and started talking with her. I walked a little bit away to give them some space. I started dancing alone. I caught myself making eye contact with a man across the club. I felt that he was watching me. I winked at him. I saw him start making his way across the club towards me. I panicked in my head and asked myself why I just did that. The man approached me and introduced himself as Michael. I whispered that my name was Jessica into his ear. He asked me if I wanted to dance. I nodded my head, and he guided me onto the dance floor. He put his arms around me, and we swayed in the music. Just as we entered the floor, the DJ changed the music to a slower song. He put his hands on my waist, and I put my hands on his shoulder. I looked across the club and made eye contact with Katie. She had ditched the dude that was trying to talk to her. I made a panicked face and motioned for her to come here with my eyes. She zoomed across the dance floor and tapped Michael on the back. He turned around. Katie said, "Excuse me, that is my girlfriend. I would like to have her back now." I moved my hands off of Michael and held Katie's hand. Michael shook his head and walked away. Katie and I decided that we were ready to leave the club. We exited and started walking back to our car. On the way back, we passed a group of visibly drunk guys. One of them asked me if he could have my number as we passed by. I said, "Of course, young man," in a deep male tone. All of his friends started laughing, and he looked super confused. Katie and I kept walking. We arrived back at my car and got in. We got some food before heading back to Katie's apartment. The rest of the night we relaxed at her place. I ended up telling her that I had cross-dressed before, and that it was actually a secret hobby of mine. She was super accepting of it, and said that she thought I was a great cross-dresser. She also said that I could borrow any of her clothes whenever I wanted to. I was thankful for that, as Katie had a massive wardrobe. After a few hours, I changed out of the costume and headed back to my house. This would not be the last time that I cross-dressed with Katie. Don't forget to leave a comment below telling me what you are going to be for Halloween.